Yo, Yanada Machai film of Pradeep. Pradeep Ranganathan is one of those success stories that genuinely makes people feel hopeful. Coming from a humble background, starting with YouTube, and then becoming one of the most visible young faces in Tamil cinema is a huge achievement. But LIK also feels like the point where he needs to seriously rethink his choices as an actor. Because for the first time, his familiar boy next door image stops feeling like a strength and starts feeling like a limitation. Now, LIK is set in futuristic Chennai in 2040. In a world where romance has become heavily shaped by technology. At the center of this world is Surya, the CEO of Love Insurance Company or LIK, a dating and relationship platform that helps people ensure their love lives through data-driven machining and tech-based compatibility. Now, Pradeep plays Vaibhav Vasudevan or Vibe Vasi, who still believes in organic, old-school love and does not trust this over-dependence on gadgets, systems, and algorithm-led relationships. Then he meets Dima, played by Kriti Shetty, a woman who's far more comfortable with this app-driven way of living and loving. From there, the film becomes a clash between human instinct and algorithmic control, asking whether real love can survive in a world that wants to measure everything through data. Now, what worked for me is mainly the idea. A futuristic romance built around apps, compatibility, and emotional distance is a relevant premise for today's generation. The film also deserves some credit for trying to talk about digital addiction, neglected childhoods, fake online intimacy, and the way technology is replacing real human presence. I also liked Gauri Kishan's presence and felt she deserved a much stronger role. But the biggest issue is that the story remains far more interesting as an idea than as an actual film. LIK never develops its central premise with enough emotional depth or intelligence. What could have become an interesting sci-fi romance or commentary on modern relationships ends up feeling surface level and stretched. The world building is also very weak. The film keeps adding some futuristic touches like holographic styling, robotic assistants, and robotic nurses. But instead of making the future feel believable, much of it comes across as gimmicky and unintentionally silly at times. Now, performance-wise too, the weakness starts showing. Pradeep's repetition becomes most visible here. In his earlier films, that awkward charm worked because the writing had freshness and relatability, some novelty. Here, because the writing is weak, it feels like he's relying on the same persona again and again instead of becoming a new character. Kriti Shetty also does not fully convince, and even SJ Surya's usual eccentric energy is now feeling overused. But the film's biggest failure is the emotional connect. There is very little chemistry between the leads. The relationships do not generate enough investment, and even the more sentimental portions, like the father-son bond, do not land strongly. That becomes a major problem because the core message of the film is that emotions matter more than data and technological convenience. If that is the theme, then the film has to make us feel something deeply, right? LIK does not. So overall, LIK disappointed me, not just because it is a weak film, but because it reveals the limitations of its writing, world building, and performances more clearly than Pradeep Ranganathan's earlier work did. And for Pradeep, Macha, this feels like an important moment because if you stay within this same comfort zone for too long, the qualities that made you relatable once may start feeling repetitive.